Hello, this is Esther
Alfred here.
of You, Me, and Sicily. Welcome back to our channel, or if you're new around here, welcome to You, Me, and Sicily, where we come to you weekly talking about all things Sicilian life here in Sicily. We're two expats living right outside of Aci Catena, outside of Catania. We've been here several years. You know, Al, for me, number one, number two, and number three of the things that I miss is family.
Okay, let's not talk about family then, because
Okay.
everybody would miss the family.
Everyone
so talk
misses
about
family.
other stuff.
So you go first. That was my first one.
Okay, big sizes for men and big sizes for women. It's a real pain in the ass to even try to go shopping for a guy like me. Okay, I have to buy my stuff online, and online by definition means American online, not Italian online, because you got to get all midget sizes, those very small sizes. Although if you shop in Holland, .nl, Amazon.nl, it's not so bad. And also in Germany, .ge, it's not so bad. But forget .it, Amazon.it.
But I have to tell you,
forget it.
I have to
Doesn't
tell you,
work.
at the market, at the Mercato that we go to in Aci San Antonio every Monday, I have found some bigger sizes for women, especially summer stuff. A lot of times it's unico, it's one size unico. So, you know, it doesn't fit anyone over a size like 8 or 10. But I have found it. But you're right. That's one of the big things.
You know, the thing that kills me are the socks, trying to get socks. I have a size 13 foot, forget it. Because the biggest they go up is they have those socks that are like size 8 to 11. So then I buy them out of desperation. And then what happens is my toes all roll up for like 2 weeks.
But I have to say, when it comes to Italian fashion, I love the fashion that's here. Even going to the Mercato, made in Italy, love the products here. All right, the second thing that I miss really.
Well, what's your first? That was my first.
Family. No, family.
Okay, that doesn't count.
Ease of doing things. Everything is a production. Everything you have to wait for. You have to do several steps. Nothing, well, not nothing, but most things are not easy. Getting your bank account, getting your residency, opening up accounts. When you go to offices, you have to make appointment. You have to wait. And then you get there and then expect the unexpected. Honestly, expect the unexpected. They're going to ask you questions, require documents and steps to take that really I never expected. So I miss sort of going into the bank and getting things done easily.
Well, you know, Esther, that's because that's the residual of the fascist era under Mussolini. It really is, where everything was detailed. It was pretty much like the Germans in terms of being very detail orientated. If there was a comma missing or a letter in your name misspelled, or Antonio or Anthony or something like that, they really break your chops.
Like accent on top of the A.
Right. Accents, stuff like that. They have to be exact because those are the regulations and the rules. And I don't think it's going to get any easier too. I mean, I know people who are going for the Italian citizen from the United States. They have all sorts of problems with, over here, his name was Giuseppe, over there, his name is Joe. And they have to prove that Giuseppe here and Joe there is the same person. It's just a pain in the neck.
Yeah. And since COVID, obviously things have gotten even harder. Even Massimo, your law partner, has been saying, you know, things have changed with COVID and things are more complicated, and they're really hunkering down on making sure that everything is exact. So that's, and even out, you know, getting things like getting a roof fixed. It's not easy. You have to talk to the administrator. He has to talk to the architect. He has to call someone. He has to schedule. Nothing. You can't call a plumber and say, be here next week. You have to wait.
It doesn't work. You know, very interesting thing what happened recently to somebody who I know and love very well. When she opened up should I say she? When she opened up a bank account, because she had not been a resident yet, they allowed her to open it up, but they gave her, you know, the account number and an IBAN number. So this poor woman, you know, diligently wired in money into her bank account.
Because that's one of the requirements for citizenship is
not citizenship,
residency, excuse me.
So what happens is after she got her residence card, she was advised by two very intelligent lawyers to quickly transfer that account from a non-resident person to a resident account. And the reason for that would be because they rip you off.
The
Okay,
fees are less.
the
Yes.
fees are crazy for non-residents, which she diligently did. However, no one told her that the IBAN numbers, that's the IBAN is the number that you use to wire money into your account. They change. So when this poor woman decided to wire some money from the United States into her bank account here, she used the IBAN number of her
Initial.
opening, her initial thing, and not the other thing. But a brilliant lawyer of American Sicilian extraction was able to figure it out immediately. And thanks to the Bank of America, they kind of fixed the problem.
So here's the bottom line with all of that.
Pain in the ass. Another
So,
pain in the
so
ass.
in other words, it's a pain in the butt. Everything is very detailed. Everything you have to make sure your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, because they'll get you there. So make sure that you have an attorney with you if you're going to go to do anything technical, anything business, like anything in the community, in the town halls. Make sure that you have someone who speaks Italian well and understands the ins and outs, because that is really key. So you know what? I miss having that independence of just going into the town hall, getting this done, getting that done, not having to go through a million people even to get my name on the property, right? So those simplicities I do miss.
Right now we've done, the last 2 or 3 months, we've done 6 different real estate deals, 6, and we're doing 2 large probates of estates deals. Okay, Americans, right? And I don't know how a mortal man could have done these from the United States of America without the help of a competent lawyer, or lawyers in this case. It just can't be done, because the documents, there's literally scores of documents that have to be filed properly, apostille, and all this other translated, and all this other nonsense. It's very difficult. And the same thing, by the way, goes for those people. I want to give you a quick tip. People wanting to come here to become citizens, because it's taken 2 or 3 years to get the paperwork in the states approved, right? Well, most of the comunes now are very suspicious of this. Okay, and the reason, there's a lot of reasons, but the most important reason is they don't know what they're doing. The local comunes don't know what they're doing, so they're afraid to take it. And if they do, say you have a cousin that's the mayor or something, and he approves you to go into the community to do it, you're going to be told, don't tell anybody that we did it.
Yeah.
If you can imagine that.
Okay, so let's stay on the topic that we're talking about, things that were miss here or miss from the United States.
And over here, they don't have the sports like we do in the United States, which is another thing. Another thing that I dislike or like or miss or don't miss is, I like soccer, but I don't like soccer that much. I have to be very honest with you. When the big games are on, the World Cup and stuff like that. But if I want to watch an NFL game, I have to pay $299 a year for the NFL pass. If I want to do ESPN, I have to pay $11.99 a month. If I want to do Major League Baseball.
But you do get your sports.
Yeah, but it's a pain in the neck, though. It's not like, I'm talking about American sports. Okay?
Well, it's also the time difference, right? Because you get up at 2 a.m. to watch the game, which is at 8 p.m. over there. So that's a pain in the butt. You have to get up early if you want to catch the game live. So
the good thing is that when I used to have a dish over here, Dish TV, whatever the hell it was called over there. It was €45 a month, and I used to enjoy it because you get stuff in Italy that comes from Germany, Austria, Belgium, Holland, and so forth, and you got a good Russia. Russia
good
was
television,
unbelievable.
But we don't need a TV. I
No,
don't.
we don't even have a
miss
TV,
American TV at all.
I
I'll
don't
be
miss
honest with
American
you.
cell phone prices, which are berserk. Okay, I don't miss American cable TV prices, which are berserk.
Yeah, that stuff
I don't miss the vitriol that's going on in the United States. For now, it's going on years at all. Over here, it's vitriol, but it's not the same type of vitriol that's in the United
bottom
States.
line is, for me, is that I love the simple life. And here in Sicily, if you want to live the simple life, you can live a simple life. A lot of these towns, you harken back to the 1900s, walking down cobblestone streets and things like that. I love that. I don't miss driving from one town to another in the United States and basically seeing the same thing. Here, when you drive from town to town, from province to province, it's a whole new experience. It's a whole new personality from town to town. I also love speaking Italian. I've been learning Italian and I enjoy using it, going
Very
out
well
there
too.
and
Very
enjoy
well.
using that.
All right.
So those are some of the things that now. Do I miss a good Chinese food? Yes. Occasionally
Chinese
that would
food
be,
here is not so
but
good.
I got to tell you this story. So a few years ago, we're like, okay, we're going to go out to Chinese food. And there's a place near us that you pay a price and there's a
18 euro
buffet,
each.
something
All
like
you
that,
can eat.
buffet, and then you get wine and so forth. You can even go and pick out a fish with a grill, which is not very Chinese. But anyway, so we're sitting down waiting for a wine and water. And this guy with a cart walks around serving spaghetti as an appetizer. So
It's
how's that?
pasta with sardines, and the Sicilian people, their eyes would bug out of their head. They're not stupid, these Chinese, and everybody would get a bowl of pasta with
As an
sardines
appetizer.
as a full bowl, like maybe
And then you
150
go,
grams.
and then you
So
go,
they're
you get
obviously full, and by the time they have to eat the Chinese food, they're not eating it too much. But you want
I
to know
do
something? They're not
also
missing
miss,
anything.
I do also miss a lot of the international restaurants. If you go to Rome, you can get great international restaurants, but around here, they do have some Indian, some Chinese, lots of sushi, but more of an Indian, Thai, that type of thing. Although we just heard that there's a Brazilian restaurant in Catania that we're going to try and report back to you.
What's better here
So
is
that's
the
what-
Mid-Eastern food in
Very
terms of the
good.
shawarma sandwiches. You know those things that go like this, and they slice them down. Whether it's say, for example, it's lamb or something like that. Those guys that own those shawarma shops around here, they're from the Mid-East. They don't fool around. They give you a damn good sandwich.
Mhm.
Really. So that's a good thing about.
Here's one other thing that I really do miss from the United States: good internet. Believe it or not, the internet here, even coming these broadcasts, one of the reasons that we decided to pre-record sometimes is because the internet is iffy. You can't get high-speed internet. And, from day to day, it differs. Now, when I went home to Boston in August, I was just amazed at my mom's. The internet was so super fast. And for my line of work, for our line of work, doing videos and uploading things and wanting to go live for you, that's a big deal. I miss high-speed internet.
It's not only the internet, it's infrastructure in general. Okay. Now, the weather forecast in a few days is calling for a kind of like a typhoon
cyclone.
or a
They're calling
cyclone
it a
coming in
cyclone.
from Africa. Okay. So that means it's coming south to north. Okay. Do you have any idea what that's going to do to the drain system here? They got a little prequel last night in Siracusa, and we saw photos, video of people wading through water up to their shins.
What shins? They're standing on top of their
Right.
car.
The old pipes, okay, and that's just one thing, is the old pipes. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, how about the water coming into your house? Those damn pumping stations, they break all the time. And many times we don't have water, not all the time, but many times for 4 or 5 hours while these guys are out there
Fixing it.
And by the way, they fix it just like they do in Massachusetts. 7 guys standing around a hole
It's
and
true.
1 guy working. Okay. I mean, it's like,
I'll tell you what, another thing I do not miss from the United States is paying a lot of money for my medicines, my vitamins, my medicines. You go into the pharmacy here. It's a lot of times you don't even need a prescription. You don't even need a doctor's note to get a lot of things that in the United States, I would have to go see a doctor, get a doctor's note, or they call it in. No, you go in here and a lot of the medicines are much cheaper, much, much cheaper. So I don't miss the prices of medicine in the United States, and also healthcare in general.
Listen, I got ripped off for years for my prescriptions in the United States. Even with my, Medicare and my plan, whatever the hell it is, D for drugs or something, the prescription drugs and all this other bullshit, excuse my language, I was still paying $300 a month for my meds. All right. Not a lot of meds, but some important ones. Okay. Now, here in Italy, all of them are available over the counter.
Yeah.
And I pay less than $50 a month for the whole shooting match. And a lot of them, by the way, are vitamins. Better vitamins.
Higher dosage.
Okay.
Although vitamin C, you can't get high doses
High
like the
doses
United
of
States.
the only thing that's more expensive here is vitamin C, aspirin. If you can believe aspirin,
Yeah.
because what they do when they sell you aspirin, they sell you a month's supply. There are 28 or 30 pills, okay,
Hmm.
and it's like €4. And the same thing for ibuprofen. But damn it, the ibuprofen, if you take a 400 milligram tab of ibuprofen here, it's almost like double as the effectiveness of the ibuprofen in the United States. I mean,
Everything's stronger. Yeah.
400 milligrams here works. 400 milligrams in the United States only works for a little brief
How
period of
about that
time.
cream you use, Volatrim?
Oh yeah, Voltron
Volatrim.
gel. Yeah, you have to
That's a
1%. You have to
great
go to
cream
the
if you have
doctor in the
pain.
United States, and you have to pay $35 for prescription. $35 for a
Hmm.
1% solution. Here they give you a 2% solution, and for a huge tube, I mean a big tube, is $16.
Yeah.
So it's like hello,
The other thing is,
and you ought to
our
stock up with that when
dentists.
you come here. You ought to stock up.
Yeah. And even going to things like my dentist, completely different price range than in the United States, where I would, spend a few $100s. Here it's much less. So that's one of the things, another thing that I do not miss in the United States. What else do you miss, Al, from the
I
United
miss
States?
some type of the foods that I grew up with in the United States. I grew up in New England, so we're talking about right now. There's the change of seasons going on.
Hmm.
It's the fall, okay, in New England, and I miss this type of stuff that we would have in the fall in New England to eat that is seasonal foods. Here we have different seasonal foods, but I kind of still miss. I
You
want
miss
to.
your childhood stuff. Although we
Yeah,
are
I do.
so lucky and fortunate, Keith and Lori Gomes, they brought you some maple syrup
Yeah,
and
like
some
maple syrup is a
waffle.
great example.
Maple
Okay.
syrup is super expensive here, and people have told us time and time again that it's not as good as it is from the one from Vermont, of course, the best. And
Yes,
things
you
like
can.
peanut butter, you can get peanut butter, but the consistency is different. It's just not the same quality. The same thing with things like soy sauce. Soy sauce, a little container like this is like $5. In the United States, I can pay it $1.99 for triple the size. So some of
Yeah.
these foods are available, Pringles and tortilla chips, things like that. They have salsa, but it is nothing like the salsa from the United States. But we are fortunate to have people, friends on the base that do get us some treats sometimes. But at the end of the day, I choose Sicilian food over American food, hands down.
Well,
Hands down.
there are going to be some people posting this saying, "Oh, I can get this at Cristaldi's in Catania, or I can
Yeah.
get that at Lidl over here," and that they're correct. Okay. However, the maple syrup that generally is sold here is from Germany. Okay,
Yeah.
Germany. It's a different taste. It's not like New England,
Different
Vermont
consistency.
taste. And even the pancake mix over here, they sell pancake mix.
Although
It's
it's pretty good.
it's not bad, but it's not like good quality pancake mix, because obviously pancake mix is not that's not a big staple for Sicilian
Yeah.
houses. And the same thing too with bacon.
Although
The
I have
bacon, you
to
see all
tell
the
you,
bacon in the States?
that if you're thinking of bringing gifts to family or someone here in Sicily, bring a maple syrup. I have never seen the Sicilians are so happy. They're like, oh my God, I've never tasted anything like that. In fact, anything American. Are you enjoying this video? Make sure you hit the like button, share it with a friend. And I also want to tell everyone that we have our join the community. If you see it right next to the subscribe, it's a way of supporting our channel for $1.99. You just, $1.99 a month, $1.99 a month. Now, let me tell you one other thing that I sort of missed, but not really. And we did do a video about this. And I am very thankful that we do get a good supply of Dunkin' Donut coffee. Although, listen to me, I love Italian coffee. I love my espresso. I love my cappuccino. But I grew up drinking my Dunkin' Donuts. I miss that. And
New Englanders drink Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee 12
oh, I
months a
do.
year.
I
12
miss
months a
that. I
year.
miss that.
There's a blizzard in the United States, in Boston, and you have to drive in a blizzard. You go to Dunkin's and you get an iced coffee and you put it in your car. You can't get iced coffee here. They'll give you an espresso and then they'll give you some ice on the side. There's no
Well, they
such.
have a coffee Fred, though.
It's not
But
even
it's
within the
not
same realm
even,
of
no.
taste like a
Now,
good
listen, I want to make sure that you guys know that
different.
we're not complaining. we're just
We're talking about
talking
some of
about
the differences.
just some of the differences. I have no complaints about living here, except, the little bit of the bureaucracy that you have to go through for everything.
Well, wait a minute. There's a lot of negatives over here too, and at some point in time, we'll get into them. I mean, the mafia is a big deal
Yeah.
in Sicily. Okay, the mafia is a big deal in Italy. Corruption is a big deal in Sicily and Italy. Just get that right out there. Okay.
Right. But in terms of
I mean,
everyday, and
honestly,
we're talking about everyday life, and we can do another show about those things. But when it comes to like everyday life, one of the things we can talk about, some of the problems about the trash, about the stray animals. It's a huge problem. But right now we're going to focus on just everyday life.
well, listen. Do you remember getting back to the maple syrup business? I'm like a hoarder for that stuff. Okay, so I was down to my last bottle. And I'm one of those guys that doesn't like to open up the last bottle until I have replenishment here. Okay. So that bottle was sitting in my cupboard for a couple of months. And then little Tommaso got sick next door. Remember little Tommaso last month? We were flipping out because they had to bring him to the hospital in Genoa. He couldn't walk and so forth. Finally, he came out. Andrea, the father, was like, he lost a lot of weight with worry.
Well, both of them. Elena, too.
And Elena, too. So we're talking, and I said to him, I says, hey, look, what do you want me to get you from the States? So he says, you know what? My kids love maple syrup. So I says, well, wait a minute. I have a bottle. So I gave him my last bottle. And believe me, as I was handing him the bottle next to him, my hand was shaking like this. I gave him
You're not
bottle,
used
right?
to having that.
So then I didn't have any in my house. And now I've been looking for it. And finally, thanks to our friends from SIG, they were able to purchase some for us, and they gave it to us as a gift. I was really happy about that. Yes.
But I gave some to Gabriela and Vanessa.
Oh, that's where I'm mixing.
No, I brought that for them as a gift because I always bring some kind of a gift to my friends here. And the first thing when one of the boys, one of the sons said, Alberto, boy.
Yeah.
And it was several days, and it was several days afterwards.
Hey, listen, before she forgets and before I forget, and Esther's going to put up a link at some point in time, but we still would like to have 2 more people come to our Christmas tour.
Yeah.
Which is going to be December 10th. When is it going to be?
20th to the 29th.
20th
but
to
I'll
the
put
29th.
a link down below. And listen, Christmas here in Sicily is just magical, beautiful, very, very festive. That's one thing I don't miss in the United States. It's very blah during the holidays right now. No decorations, no trees.
We're going to have our
very
annual Christmas party here.
Very opposite here. Trees are up, lights. Every town it's just festooned with lights. Their specialty foods, the panettone, the pandora. So it's a beautiful time here in Sicily, and we're going to have a great time visiting some of our favorite places like Catania, Taormina, Ortigia. We're even going to go to Noto. We're going to have Christmas dinner at Piccolo Mundo. I'm going to have the stocco, and you usually have the lamb or something like that. So it's a beautiful, beautiful town and time here. And as Alfred said, of course, we're going to have a little bit of a Christmas party. And the flights are very low in that period.
Right now,
December is very, very low.
That's very, very good. And then the other thing I wanted to say is we just posted our May 2022 trip.
Mm-hmm.
And within a couple of weeks, our June 2022 trip will be posted. Okay. So those are the things that are happening in terms of touring. And her and I decided for next year, looks like in September of 2022, we're going to leave it open for private groups.
Yeah.
So if that's a great month to come. We'll have our October group, but the month of September, we'll leave open for private groups. So if you'd like to come here, we can, or she could, I guess we both could, but probably her with her guides and Stefania and everybody else and her crew, they will be able to give you a great time and show you really the off the beaten track, what Sicily really is about.
All right. And finally, here's what I want to ask you, Alfred. United States, Sicily, where would you rather be right now?
The start of another day in paradise. I wanted to wish you all a good morning. And if you haven't been on my deck to experience this yourself, well then, maybe you just ought to come. But anyways, buongiorno. Okay, family excluded.
Family excluded.
I would rather be here. I belong here. It's very simple. I belong here. Everybody has said to me, even my brother mentioned it on his radio program yesterday, that since I've been here,
Yeah.
I'm kind of like a different person. Someone says I'm more calmer.
When your brother and Michael Mazur said you're more mellow, I'm like, who are they talking about? Or who was the Alfred before that?
Well, listen, Esther, I mean,
and
honestly,
they've also said that you're much healthier.
the biggest difference is, and this is the last thing I want to say about differences over here, is that it's a lot cheaper to live, by 50% cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean, even with my Social Security that I get from the United States, not only do I pay the rent and all the utilities, but I bank almost half of it.
Yeah.
Whereas in the United States of America, if I just had to depend on my Social Security, I would be greeting people at Walmart. No, I'm serious. I would have to
for
work.
me, it's the
I
same.
would have to work to pay the oppressive expenses of living in the United States, which over here, people don't make that much money. The average family of four gets by on the equivalent of $18,000
cost of
a
living
year.
is far less.
So as a result, everything is cheaper. I mean, when we used to go to Whole Foods, right? I used to count my bill by how many bags.
Yeah. Well, everyone knows that.
$100 a bag.
Everyone knows that. All right. On that note, here is what I want to know from you guys. What would you guys like to hear us talk about? So leave me a comment below. Also, if you've enjoyed this show, leave us a comment and subscribe to this channel. And one more big announcement.
What?
Coming up very soon. The famous Massimo, the attorney who's been working with Alfred here in Catania, is going to be coming on with me talking about living here, buying property, and so much more. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
I have a big announcement.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like my new hat?
That's not
authentic.
New.
This is brand new. My daughter Jennifer just sent it to me. She went to London, England.
Beautiful.
Right? I feel like, what's that guy's name? Piggy. What's that Piggy Blinkies, or whatever that guy that's got the show on Netflix? Look at this hat. Huh?
Love it.
It fits right in Sicily. It's a winter hat. It's made of herringbone or something like that. And anyways, we love you very much. I can't say go Red Sox because they've been now eliminated.
Thank God we can sleep again.
Now I can go back to get a good night's rest.
Thank you so much for watching this video of you, me, and Sicily, and we'll see you next time.
Ciao. Ciao.